Hey, fight fans, welcome back to Carl Perza MMA. Today, I am with UFC veteran. He is Mr. Brock Weaver. Brock, what's going on, my friend? How are you doing this Saturday?
I'm good, bro, man. Just woke up. Saturday off. No training, no sparring, no work. So I'm just at the crib chilling, man. We got a big storm coming in, a lot of tornadoes. So we're gonna see what's gonna happen.
Absolutely, man. So, you've been doing mixed martial arts for a long time. I think people forget 15, 20 years ago, it wasn't as culturally accepted as what it is today. People were calling this human cockfighting. It wasn't legal at every single place. When you first started, it was definitely gaining a lot more culturally acceptance. But do you have any stories of fighting in bars, barns, outside, mystery opponents? Do you have any of that?
Hell yeah, for sure. I've been doing it 17, almost 18 years since I was 15. My first fight, I was 16. I fought. It was on a school night. I told my grandma I was staying the night with my cousin, and I went with some of my friends to Guitars and Cadillacs, Fake ID, uh, place in D'Iberville, Mississippi. I mean, big honky tonk saloon, country as hell, and fought a 33-year-old. I'm 33-year-old. 30. I'm 33 now. So he was a wrestler. He come out. I remember I come out to I'm never scared, and man, I was hyped. I got in the cage and my song went off and his song come on, and he was like a spark. I guess he had like a Spartan background or something. I don't know. And he come out with like 300 looking Spartans like behind him, and like I'm like, man, what the fuck? I'm scared. I'm supposed to be at school in the morning. My grandma was about to kill my ass, and I lost by split decision, but it was a war. Like I was handling him on the feet. He would take me down, would get back up. I had a black eye. I had to explain that the next day. Had to go to school with a black eye. All kinds of crap. But yeah, that's my first fight. It was exactly what you was looking for.
When you look at the region that you're at in the United States, between that Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana region, I think a lot of people don't realize the amount of fighting that's there. Obviously, you have some guys in Louisiana, Kurt Hollabaugh, Brendan Allen doing big things. You got the Iberville guys in Mississippi. Obviously, you in Alabama, you got Cam Teague, who's coming up right now. It's going to make a big mark on the state. What is it with that region and fighting?
Um, yeah, man. We've always kind of had a little solid fight group around here in the Mobile, Mississippi, uh, Pensacola with Roy and his dad, and now the MMA scene is deaf since I remember traveling, back as a kid after training and stuff to Mississippi to train with Belcher. Me and Jason Knight become training best friends, just training everywhere together for years and years. Blake Singley, me and him become training partners. He ended up becoming my coach. We went on an 8-0 run to the UFC through the Contender. He was a big prospect back in the day. My cousins James and Chuck Orso, they were big names back in the day in the fight game, and now we got their son and nephew John Orso. He's probably going to be like the heavyweight champion of the world from the same tribe as me. I remember watching UFC fights after on the weekends, and this kid, and we're all on the fights, and then we go watch them fight. Now it's literally I ended up making it. Now John has just come out of just straight bread for it, and he's about to make a big scene. Um, but yeah, the MMA scene, I have watched it. Like I said, I've been doing it almost 18 years. In the last 10 years, it just grew in our region. Brendan, I used to train with Brendan all the time. Um, all them guys, Holland Brock. Holland Brock was one of my main training partners for that's where, anytime we needed to go get good hard sparring, get ready for the real fights, those are the guys we were having to spar.
You mentioned John Orso, obviously coming off of a big victory, Island Fights. Island Fights promotion, Pensacola, Florida. You've been on it a bunch. That's a promotion that generates so many top names to the UFC, so many names in the sport. Talk about a little bit of that promotion, the impact, and the way they played on the regional scene.
Island Fights is the, I mean, They the number one. I mean, who's put more people in the UFC than Allen Fights and Dean Toole? I don't know. I don't know any other guy like Dean is. He's been I mean, major impact, super impact in my career. Pretty much, found all my fights easy. The never not so easy fights. Like, I'm taking all the hard fights. He's believing in me. We made it work, and he's done that same thing to many other fighters, probably like 20 or maybe more people he's put in the UFC. And yeah, like, I have 2 gyms now with 40 students, 20 fighters, and Island Fights is the show to put them on. I mean, to get them seen. I mean, John Orso, that's my guy, but you've seen him through Island Fights. I mean, they just have a huge following. They know what they're doing. They've been doing it a long time. They're coming up on their 90th show, and I fought on like 40 of them, amateur and pro. So yeah, Island Fights is the GOAT.
Following the time on Island Fights, you got that call to the Dana White Contender Series. Do you remember where you were at when you got the phone call that you were going to go on the Contender?
Oh, where was I? That's a good question. Definitely Dean called me. He called me for a couple of those phone calls. I'm not sure what I was doing, but I was like, we pretty much, Dean was like, we win this fight, we win this fight, we win this fight, and you're gonna, he's like, I'm gonna give you these fights. You win them, you're in the Contender Series. So I was like, bet. One, and talk a little junk, and bam, Contender Series. And then that whole thing went. I was supposed to fight on week 1, Shabazi, and couldn't make weight, and he got pushed back to Devin Smith. And that night, I mean, it was destiny, man. You write your own destiny, and I wrote that shit, spoke that shit, believed in that shit, and the way I felt, Contender Series night was the best I ever felt. No one could have beat me. Khabib, Conor McGregor, Islam, they couldn't have beat me that night. I don't give a fuck. They couldn't have beat me that night.
So many people watch this sport. You have so many casual fans who are watching this now, and they look at the big names, right? They look at the Masvidals, the John Joneses, the McGregors, and they're like, "Wow, it must be amazing to be a fighter." Little do they know, man, the sacrifices are real. Battling it on the regional scene, guys are losing money for the most part. You have to work a 9-to-5 job, throw a wife in there, throw kids in there. A lot of guys have to pay to train, wake up early, stay up late, miss birthdays, weddings, anniversaries, holidays, don't see family members, all this stuff just for the opportunity to chase the dream. Even when you get the big promotions, you're not making NFL money quite yet. You've been doing this for such a long time. Now you're helping guys get there. What's made you want to keep going throughout this journey?
Man, I feel like my gym, these last few years, since I ain't been fighting, my new gyms I've made, I kind of got stuck in them because I kind of got stuck helping people. I love training. I've always said I'm not the best fighter in the world, but I could damn sure be one of the best coaches. I understand the game. I break it down. Everybody's always like, they catch me looking off and staring into space, and they're like, "Man, what are you thinking about? Like, what is in your crazy head?" I'm like, "Bro, being real with you, like my baby mama and anyone, I'm like, my next combo, like, I am 80% of the time in my head thinking about my next combo I'm gonna show someone, or I'm gonna do in sparring and see if it works to show someone, and I'm constantly just saving stuff, but these gyms." Yeah, I'm trying to, build champions, and, I made it to the UFC. I never said I wanted to be UFC champion. Maybe if that was driven in me, but I was, like you said, life. I also wanted kids. I'm 33. I'm about to have my first kid. A lot of things happen, and putting life in with the high level of fighting and just the regional level of fighting is hard. Having to work a job until you make it. And then you might still have to you still should keep that job to your second contract. Don't quit your job on that first contract. All you young fighters, get your big signing to the UFC or wherever you go, and Don't quit that job. Smart thing, keep that job. Get to your fight to your second contract. Keep everything the same. Don't get lazy. Don't get comfortable. Don't ever get comfortable. I got in the UFC and got a little comfortable. I was like, whew, I made it. I can chill now, and I should have just, no, there's no time to chill. You chill when you retired in your 40s. But yeah, I always tell my fighters, because they win these fights, and then they think everything is supposed to just be good. It's gonna be good for the next 24 hours. It's gonna be great. You're a winner. But when Monday comes around, that wanted to win feeling comes back, because now that's old news. That's Saturday news. We want to win again. Now life's kicking in. Now we got to go back to work sore. Now you got to go back and you got to deal with this girlfriend or baby mama or wife that you sacrificed all this camp for, and you still got to make time for her and them. And but now you're a man, you're a fighter, you want another dub, you want to just get back in the gym, and it doesn't work like that. So yeah, and I'm just now figuring out having a baby mama and um a kid on the way, and I'm 33, so I'm just adjusting to that. For I never even think about fighting again. But right now, um I got about 3 or 4 people in the next couple of years. Y'all probably see it on TV if they stay at it and they don't let life get to them, and they stay focused and determined. um y'all could definitely see me on the other side of the cage, and then maybe one day back in the other side of the cage too. We don't know, we'll see.
Do you get more nervous watching your guys compete, being with them, than you actually did when you competed?
It's a different nervous. It's Yeah, I'm super nervous because I don't want them to lose, because it's a loss for both of us. I put in all this work with them. I'm in training camp with them. I'm on a work day meeting them at the gym an hour and a half before I go to work to get them, so it's a sacrifice. I'm still in camp with them, so it sucks, you know. Um, but winning feels better too. So that's the reason.
Mixed martial arts has evolved so much over the last 15, 20 years. You've seen it grow between your eyes. Now it's such more mainstream. You see so much more of it. If you wanted to, you could literally watch a regional fight almost every day of the week now on UFC Fight Pass. It's insane. You have all these UFC fights almost every single weekend. And something we're seeing is the rise of entertainment and personality. Guys are now going out there, they're pretending to be characters. They're being someone they're not because they know they're going to get them a title shot. Knows they're going to get an easier path to UFC. They're going to get handpicked opponents. How do you think personality entertainment has affected combat sports?
Like, just being a showsman.
Yeah, just in general. Yeah,
Yeah, like I tell people lately, like I was like, they're like, man, you got, like people, bro, you got a chin, you got a heart, man, you got grit, you're a fighter, and I'm like, I like more these days in my later career. I was an entertainer, is what I like to call myself. I'm people want to watch me. I want people to watch me other than because there's so many good fighters out there that can fight, but not everyone can entertain. Not everyone can can. Oh, I want to watch Brok Weaver, not because he's gonna knock out that person, because I want to watch him put on his face paint and mug that person in weigh-ins, and I want to watch his come out to what he's coming out to, and how his hype he's gonna come, and all his people, and I want to watch that, and then yeah, see him getting there and maybe win. That'll just make it all icing on the cake. But even if he loses, he's still hard to go, because we want to see that. That's like, I want to grasp your attention, even if you think I'm a win or not. And that's just gonna make it even better. Is this world, since Connor and a lot of them, the Diaz brothers with their personality and stuff, they changed the game. Connor changed the game. Um, O'Malley changed the game with the crazy look. I mean, the game's changing, and somebody right now is sitting there thinking how they can change the game. I mean, I think I'm one of the first ones to ever face paint in the UFC, and now everybody face painting Pereira. I was the first person to shoot the bow in the UFC, but now it's just it's cool to see it changing and being part of it, and and evolving and seeing where else is it gonna go. You know, it's only gonna change even more, and more personalities gonna be put in it, and I'm ready for it.
How much pride did you take in being able to really showcase your Native American culture?
I mean, that's big, that's huge. That's I was raised on the res. I was raised crazy my wives. I was raised uh, going to powwows and seeing the face paint and the dances and being part of them. And it's cool because a lot of people don't even know Native Americans are still alive. Like, I've been to places and they're like, natives are still alive, and I'm like, yeah, barely, but yeah. But yeah, so it's it's cool, and it's different. Not many people, or there ain't many natives out there like that fight that make it. So it was pretty cool to do that. It's humbling.
One of the byproducts of this whole entertainment personality driven era that we're in is a term we now use called the casual fan. So these fans, they're usually at B dubs. They like to get drunk when they watch the fights. They like to yell, twist them, and you know what, and all these obscenities and these crazy things. Overall, what do you think of the casual fans? Is it just something that we need to accept that's good for the sport?
I mean, what are you gonna do about it? Like, the fans are gonna be fans. There can be some obnoxious, annoying ones, and then they could just be your typical, B dub. Let's go watch the fights, and they got their opinions on who they're gonna win and why they're gonna win, and sometimes they might be right. Sometimes, most of the time, they're wrong. But what are we gonna do without them? If you're a fighter, if you're an entertainer, you're in the fight game. You gotta have fans or haters or both, or your name is never gonna be nothing in the fight game to be remembered.
In addition to fighting in the UFC, in addition to doing mixed martial arts, you're on that first game bred bare knuckle MMA card, fighting with Dean and Jorge. Overall, that's a product for them that's been doing such big things. And I really think it's the most realist, truest form of combat. How did you enjoy taking the gloves off and doing that?
I mean, I remember when I bare knuckled boxed, and literally, like, I started promoting and asking people to be on these cards, and it's so crazy how so many fighters are like, nah, I'm not gonna do that yet. And I'm like, I'm like, dang, man, I thought he was hard. Which he's hard, like, they're hard. I'm not saying they're soft, but I'm just like, but we fighters. If they put money in front of us and they tell us to go fight this other dude that is willing to take his gloves off and fight me, you damn right I'm gonna fight him for some money. Like, I'm gonna break my hand, it's gonna heal, I'm gonna get paid, we're gonna get some glory off of it, we're gonna get some fans and some haters off of it, and it's gonna be a show. Like, yeah, like, gloves, no gloves, I don't care. Put a knife in my hand, put a knife in his hand, let's go. Whatever the rules, as long as you're paying us to do some dumb shit to entertain some people and it involves martial arts, I'm a real martial artist. I don't care. Let's fight. That's just that's how it should be if you're a fighter. Definitely if you're good. Fucking take the gloves off and beat his ass with your knuckles. Gotta pull your punches a little bit. You can't hit as hard, but I mean, it's yeah, it was fun. Definitely a fan of Game Bread and honored to be on the first one.
I think a lot of people are watching between bare knuckle boxing and bare knuckle mixed martial arts right now, but I think very few understand that you could take the greatest boxer in the world, the greatest glove mixed martial arts in the world. That may not positively translate to taking the gloves off. I feel like you really have to have that mental fortitude to do bare knuckle. You have to have that dog in you. Do you agree?
I mean, I guess so. Like, that's what I was just saying. Like, I guess you gotta have that in you, because I've asked some pretty hard fighters out there, like, yo, let's go do Game Bread, and they're like, oh man, maybe that's later. And I'm like, bro, that's anytime. Like, one fight, I'll fight MMA gloves, and then a couple weeks later, I turn around, and take them off, and then the next week I'll put some boxing gloves on, and the next week I'll take them back off. Like, that's how it should be. You're a fighter, bro. Glove or no glove, there's shin guards, no shin guards. Like, if my opponent's down, then I ain't letting him catch me saying, nah, I ain't down. Let's put some gloves on. Nah, bro, let's go. Let's bump.
For you, what does it mean to call yourself a martial artist?
A martial artist is, um, I would say, a the short term to put something like that would be a very matured fighter. You know, you're not a martial artist because you're just training in MMA and you're kicking butt in the regional scene. A martial artist is one that really gets all forms of fighting, which is fighting your inner peace, fighting your anger, fighting emotions, uh and having to be able to balance all that and not get out of who you are, and be able to just get in the ring and teach just as good as you can fight it. You know, there's a lot of fighters out there, but they can't teach yet. I got some good fighters, and I've, not bashing them, but ask them to teach for me, and they don't know where to start. They don't know how to build. You don't just teach a technique. You got to get the motion. You got to get the body to move into it. You got to get them to shadow in it. You got to get them to rep in it. Then you got to show them how it works. Then you got to watch it on TV and show them how it works. Then you got to go back to drilling it. And that's a martial artist. That's, I think, is just a fighter, someone that just is just hungry with fighting and learning. A martial artist can fight, learn, teach, hold their peace, have a calm life. Someone is, figured out both sides, like we was talking about earlier, with life and job and, marriage and girl and babies and stuff like that. A martial artist is figured. You never really figure it out, I don't think, but he's figuring it out a lot better.
In addition to helping your guys get ready for their fights, do you also try to teach them the business side of mixed martial arts?
Yeah, I always say the most cruel sport in the world is the fight game in all aspects, definitely the business side. So, uh, having good help, um, being raised up in the sport with somebody that's good help and not like a Don King or something, is very big to all young fighters and to all my guys. I kind of just let, like, I want to stay. I've built a very good relationship with Island Fights and a couple other organizations, and they most of the time try to look out for my fighters, just like they've looked out for me. And not giving us, like, the easy fights, but just giving us fights that make sense when my guys are right, and fair money, fair pay, and that helps a lot. You know.
One thing I really do respect about Dean and do respect about Island Fights is their integrity when they're matchmaking in the regional scene. We really started seeing this in boxing, but you see promotions gravitate to their guys. They feed them hand-picked opponents just so they make an easier path to get to the bigger shows, so the promotions get some sort of clout and merit off of it. How do you feel like that model has impacted mixed martial arts?
I mean, everybody likes to see somebody like destroy somebody in there at least one or two times of the night, but um yeah, like Island Fights and a couple other organizations, like I said, definitely. But go watch my fights, bro. I was a fan favorite, hometown guy, basically. Like, Pensacola crowd loved me. Um, like regional fights, I never had no easy fights. Like, go look at my Tapology. I never had no easy fights. I was, you know, like they probably wanted to give me, like, I've never ever turned down a fight. Like, as Dean, anyone he calls me, gives me a name. You want to fight? Yep. He called me. You want to fight on Icon in Los Mochis, Sinaloa, most dangerous city in the world? Do you have a passport? No, but I'll fight. Sneak me across the border. All right. Calls me, hey bro, you wanna fight bare knuckle, game bred, most dangerous sport in the world, the first one ever in Mississippi? Yeah, who am I fighting? You know, like, never, easy fights, bro. Like, in the UFC, I should have turned down a couple of those fights. 6-day notice, Roosevelt Roberts cut 26 pounds. Jalen Turner, 2-day notice when I was supposed to be fighting Frank Camacho. You know, like both those fights, Dean tried to pull me out, you know, and my other trainers tried to pull me out. And I'm just like, nah, bro. I'm a fighter. I was not a martial artist at that time. Martial artist mindset now, years later, and looking back on the business side and all that, I should have backed out when got a full count for these guys, you know, and come gave them my all, gave them 100% me. But that wasn't the mentality then, and that's just how it is now.
How do you think you have grown and evolved as a person from your mixed martial arts journey?
I think it's definitely saved my life. I've been to jail one time for littering, you know, and I look like I'm a four got like 4 felonies on me or something, you know, like this stuff. Everybody think they can't believe I've only been in jail once for littering, and that just happened. Uh, but it definitely, from where I come from, saved my life. I'm getting strung out on some drugs and just fucking just living this freaking street life in the, you know, hood and the reservation and stuff like that. I could have definitely could have been throwed off and went down a whole nother path. I fell in love with training and literally improving, and that I knew that my body can party a little bit, but I can't be thrown off. I can't be there, or I will never get to where I want to be. Um, it's like I always knew I was gonna make it to the UFC. I just can't stop training. If I stop training, then there's no making it. So I had no time to really mess up my life, you know. And I believe it's definitely made me a better person because I just want to. I want to see if I can make another me. You know, make another get. You know, that's what I'm looking for. This couple people I think's got it that I train now, and we'll see. You know, hopefully get them there and teach them how to get somebody there. You know.
There you go. All right, Brock, last question for you, my friend. So what's next for you, man? What are you working on? What are some of the goals going on right now for 25?
All year 2025 right now. My gym, Brok Weaver Boxing, BJJ. I'm 3-1 for the year 2025 with my fighters. So that one dub, we both, me and her both knew we was gonna get this dub. We needed a fight, needed to get the experience, but it's still a nail. And uh, my goal is to rack up as many dubs all year long. Like I want to see like 30-1 by December for my squad. You know, that's a goal. And got a fighter I'm about to put in the contender series in August, Blake Anthony. I've been training this kid for 12 years, like on and off, like 12 years. This kid's like my perfect style of striking that I've been just in my head. He's fast. He's freaking dangerous. We're about to fight next weekend, get a belt, be in the contender in August, I think. Um, and that's that's about all. You know, my squad against the world 2025. Probably Boxing.
Awesome. Brock, well, thank you so much for your time, my friend. I know your schedule is super busy, so thank you for giving me about 30 minutes here and really enjoyed it.
Appreciate you, brother.
Absolutely. That's it for us today. I'm Carl Prusa. He's Mr. Brock Weaver. Stick around, fight fans.